And she showed up right here on our set. Bellamy Young, good to have you with us.
I'm so happy to be here. Good morning.
God, I love that show.
Oh, thank you. I love it too.
The scenes are so good. The dialogue is so meaty, and you are originally a theater actor, so it must be a real treat for you to get to chomp your teeth into such good dialogue.
We have a lot of theater actors on our show. Linda Lowy casts our show, and she's a genius. And we talk frequently about how this may be the best dialogue we'll ever get. You know, this might be the height of things. Because when you get monologues handed to you that are so emotionally messy, you know, they're just, Shonda and our writers allow the characters to be so complicated. It's a joy to play.
That's what I love about the show, that everybody gets their moment. You know, she gives a little special thing to everyone. Now, one of the things that JD and I were talking about that we love is that your character, unbelievably, was only supposed to be in a couple episodes, 2 or 3, and then you did such a fantastic job with your presence that you stuck around. Tell us about that.
I cannot take credit for that. That's very, very kind. I think they found the enormous resource that Mellie is in terms of like a fulcrum in the story point, and they just started writing more and more and using that leverage. And to my great joy, as I've never gotten to be a series regular or anything before, so to always be the bridesmaid, never be the bride. to get this guy, as it were, is a blessing.
And it's quite a guy to get. Scandal's hugely successful right now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tony Goldwyn.
He
is quite a guy.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. I would think there'd be a tendency. I would think a first lady character on a show that's really not about the first lady could be a throwaway. Could be really two-dimensional. What do you do to flesh it out, to make her so strong and so compelling?
Well, I think that's a joy of living in Shondaland. She writes complicated women. She really does. And I think it's not just the role of the First Lady. So often in entertainment, the woman is sort of, you know, a very one-dimensional role. So you're serving a function in the story. But she allows us to be full women characters. And just like women in real life, we have ambitions and we have failures and we have hopes and we have dreams. And it's been incredible. So I really credit the writing. I live to serve the writing, and I work hard to show up like it shows up for me, and like I get handed these little jewels. But it's there. They write it, you know?
But you did some work for that. How did you research it? I read that you actually spent time doing a little First Lady research.
Sure, ongoing, because First Lady is such a touchstone for gender politics in our country. I mean, it's really sort of mind-boggling. It's always taken a union to run the union. And so even when you start looking back at these women all through history, Dolly Madison, Mellie Grant, like everyone, they were always pulling their weight, and they were the man behind the man, and their stories are unsung, so it feels very, you know, I feel very special to get to be bringing a little light, and now people can look, and Lord knows our writers bring some of those stories in, so it gets brought back.
Did you know that you were going to be making, did you have any sense that you were trying to make a first impression 6 years ago when you were on Grey's Anatomy? Right? Did you know that was kind of sort of an audition for your future?
You think every job is definitely, I mean, every audition's an audition, but every job is definitely an audition because you never know who's seeing you. And so sure, you're always trying to do your best. I'm always trying to do my best. That was a fun job. That was the Private Practice spinoff. So it's sort of like, I mean, it was sort of bad because I didn't get to do like the proper Grey's Anatomy, but it was sort of great because I got to do both shows at once. Yeah, but I was all in that world, so I didn't get to really hang in any of the Grey's guys.
Can we talk about your fashion for a second?
Oh.
Hey!
Your character has the best clothes, but obviously it's not the same as your off-camera style. So how would you describe her look?
She's very, she dreams of being iconic. I think that's what it is. So she is looking for something very streamlined, very American, but very eye-catching, you know, in her power, but also in her femininity. And we spend a lot of time in Escada and Michael Kors. We spend a lot of time in Armani, Healy Safari, sort of that everyday sort of look, but because he just cuts so beautifully for a woman. You can't go wrong in this clothes.
Oh,
it
sounds very trying. It sounds very difficult to spend all that time in Armani.
Sorry to bore you about this, but anyway.
We got to take a break. We got to take a quick break, but we're not done with you yet, not by a long shot. When we come back, we'll talk more with Scandal's First Lady, Bellamy Young. We're going to grill her a little bit more about on-set secrets, and we're also going to talk to her about her other talent and her passion.
Back with Bellamy Young, the First Lady in the ABC mega hit Scandal.
You guys couldn't stop talking about fashion during the break.
I know.
And you said that there's a little throwback coming up on the show. We're going to get to see the First Lady before she was First Lady.
Absolutely. Tonight's episode, you're going to meet, you're going to see how Mellie became Mellie.
And she was quite different?
Visually, physically, in terms of like her spiritual well-being, absolutely. I mean, they were young and in love once, so that's a whole other thing in itself. But yeah, I have a beautiful bobbed wig. It's adorable. I love being young Mellie.
Is every first lady sort of living in the shadow of Jackie O a little bit? Because I feel like style-wise, she was so
See,
iconic.
we're getting him to talk about the
No,
style.
we're
I know,
gonna
it's
get to that
terrible.
side.
Oh my God.
Done to
We
you.
got you. Absolutely, but how can you not? I mean, because she did it like beyond compare, and so even in your reptilian brain, all you think of First Lady, and you see a Jackie O in your mind, and you sort of have to do your own version.
Indeed. Let's talk a little bit about, this is a fascinating topic to me. You were adopted
Yes.
as a young girl, and you spent a good deal of time in your adult life trying to track down your birth parents.
I did when I was a senior in college. There was a health complication, and they said to me, do you have any breast cancer in your family? It was the first time I'd ever thought, I do not have any idea what I have in my family. So I started trying to just get my medical records, and it began a 2-decade process of me calling social services in my hometown and then saying, you don't have any rights, and sort of hanging up on me.
Wow.
And then one day I called and had my tired, blah, blah, blah. And it said, the law changed yesterday. Would like be the first person to go through this reunion process in Buncombe County. And so, long story short, yes. And I have met my parents, and they are remarkable. And I got my medical history, and it's wonderful. I mean, I think love just begets love. I'm grateful to be here, and I love my family that raised me as my family. But now to know who made me just has been very expansive and incredible.
And you have 2 families.
I do, right? More love.
Was it frightening at all, the experience going down that path? Was it?
Terrifying. I mean, it goes so wrong. I'm lucky because I met them when I was already like almost 40, and it's sort of past the point of need on anyone's part. You can sort of meet as not equals, obviously, but as adults, and it's a very different dynamic. But it was, I think, liberating for all of us to get to have that, to have that question, that giant looming question answered, and so beautifully. Everybody's a beautiful person.
That sounds like some Shonda Rhimes material right
Wow.
there.
Right there. I see another show coming.
Spin-off. Now, how is your mom? I hear she actually has met some of your famous friends.
Yes, it's the joy of this moment, because they're fleeting. These moments never last. So the great joys of these moments is to share them with the people that you love. And one of the most fun things I got to do last year was take my mother to the Elton John big Oscar event. And I, bless her, dressed her up and did her hair, did her makeup, and the whole thing. And her eyes were like saucers all night long, because it was. So were mine. I mean, I don't act like I do this all the time, but it was just a great fun.
Right, the red carpets are a little bit old hat to you, but for Mom, it's like, wow!
I know, I took pictures of her in front of the big step and repeat. It was awesome.
That's so good. That's such good stuff. Before we go, we mentioned your other talents. Musical theater actress, great singer, great stage performer. Would you go back to musical theater? Would you do an album?
I'm doing an album when I get home, actually. I started on the 21st.
What kind of music?
Eclectic. It's a really very indulgent process. I'm going to tell you, it's been a dream always, and I, at this point, wanted people to know, should Scandal ever end, which I hope doesn't have to last forever. But if it does, I wanted people to remember that I sing. So it's going to be, covers. So it'll be Pink and Ryan Adams and Bonnie Raitt.
Oh my goodness! I just want to see Mellie doing Pink. That's what I'm kind of focusing on right now.
You got to wonder if they can work a way for Mellie to sing on the show.
Yes.
I think we'll just call Shonda.
We should just. We got to call her.
Bellamy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
It's
being
been a
with us.
pleasure. Thank you.
Really good to have you. Hey, make sure that you watch Scandal. It's in its 3rd season right now. It's Thursday nights on ABC.